Good afternoon, one and all. I request Sanika to begin with the rules. Our first participant is Swamini Patil. Please be ready. First, Sanika, are you here?
Yeah,
Yeah, please begin with the rules.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Very good afternoon to all the participants. Today I'm going to read the rules for the competition. I'll be reading the rules in 3 languages, English, Hindi and Marathi. So let's begin with English. The competition will be conducted online on Google Meet on this link. The competition will be held in English, Hindi and Marathi. The contestants should mention their name and their topic before commencing their speech. Contestants from senior group shall be allotted time 8 minutes for speech and warning shall be given after completion of 6 minutes. Um, the contestants should keep their phones on landscape mode while delivering their speech. Contestants are supposed to ping the timekeeper on their screen. So the timekeeper for our slot is Pranjal Marathe. So you can ping her on your screen. She'll be warning you regarding the time. Contestants should not refer to any notes, papers, or reference materials while speaking. If a contestant is found referring to such material, they will be debarred from the competition. Contestants may leave the meeting after they have finished their speech. Contestants should unmute themselves only for the duration of their speech. Contestants must not behave in any manner disruptive to the contestant delivering their speech. Top 15 contestants will be selected from the primary round. Final round of self-debate will be conducted among the finalists. Decision made by the judges will be final and binding. Contestants are expected to obey all other rules as specified by the organizers from time to time. Now I'll read all the rules again in Hindi. प्रतियोगिता गूगल मीट पर ऑनलाइन माध्यम से आयोजित की जाएगी. प्रतिभागी मराठी, हिंदी और अंग्रेजी में से किसी भी एक भाषा में अपना वक्तव्य प्रस्तुत कर सकते हैं. भाषण शुरू करने से पहले प्रत्येक प्रतिभागी को अपना नाम और चुने हुए विषय को स्पष्ट रूप से बताना होगा. प्रतिभागी को 8 मिनट का समय दिया जाएगा. 6 मिनट समाप्त होने पर प्रतिभागी को सूचित किया जाएगा. स्पर्धा के दौरान वक्ता अपना फोन लैंडस्केप मोड पर रखे. टाइमकीपर द्वारा दिए गए संकेत को समझने के लिए प्रतिभागी ने टाइमकीपर को स्क्रीन पर पिंग करना आवश्यक है. प्रतिभागी भाषण के दौरान संदर्भ के लिए किसी भी प्रकार की सामग्री पास नहीं रख सकते. यदि प्रतिभागी अपने सामने हस्तलिखित प्रति या अन्य कोई भी सामग्री रखकर भाषण देते हैं तो उन्हें प्रतियोगिता से बाहर किया जाएगा. प्रतिभागी अपना भाषण होने के बाद मीटिंग से बाहर हो सकते हैं. प्रतिभागी केवल अपने भाषण के वक्त ही खुद को अनम्यूट करे. अन्य प्रतिभागियों के द्वारा ऐसा कोई व्यवहार नहीं होना चाहिए जिससे प्रतिभागी के प्रदर्शन में बाधा आए. पहले 15 प्रतिभागियों को प्राथमिक दौर से चुना जाएगा. संवाद का अंतिम दौर उन 15 प्रतिभागियों के बीच होगा. परीक्षकों का निर्णय अंतिम और बंधनकारक होगा. उपरोक्त नियमों के अतिरिक्त आयोजकों द्वारा समय समय पर दिए गए निर्देशों का पालन करें. Now I'll read all the rules again in मराठी. स्पर्धा गुगल मीटच्या माध्यमातून आयोजित केली जाईल. स्पर्धा मराठी, इंग्रजी किंवा हिंदी भाषेतून होईल. प्रत्येक स्पर्धकाने आपले नाव व निवडलेला विषय भाषण सुरू करण्यापूर्वी स्पष्टपणे सांगावा. वरिष्ठ गटाच्या स्पर्धकांना 8 मिनिटांचा वेळ देण्यात येईल. यात 6 मिनिटांनंतर पूर्व सूचना देण्यात येईल. स्पर्धकाने भाषण देताना आपला मोबाईल आडवा धरावा. टाइमकीपरने दिलेला इशारा समजण्यासाठी स्पर्धकाने टाइमकीपरला स्क्रीनवर पिन करणे आवश्यक आहे. मी पुन्हा एकदा रिपीट करते. प्रांजळ मराठे टाइमकीपर आहे. तुम्ही प्लीज ज्यांनी केलं नाही तिला पिन करा. स्पर्धकांनी भाषणाच्या वेळी कोणताही कागद, चिठ्ठी व संदर्भासाठी अन्य कोणताही मजकूर सोबत बाळगू नये. अशा प्रकारचा मजकूर भाषणादरम्यान स्पर्धकाकडे आढळल्यास त्याला अथवा तिला स्पर्धेतून बाद करण्यात येईल. स्पर्धक आपले सादरीकरण झाल्यानंतर मीटिंग सोडू शकतात. स्पर्धकांनी केवळ आपल्या भाषणावेळी स्वतःला अनम्यूट करावे. सादरीकरण करत असलेल्या स्पर्धकाला व्यत्यय येईल अशा प्रकारचे कोणतेही वर्तन इतर स्पर्धकांनी करू नये. प्राथमिक फेरीतून 15 स्पर्धक निवडण्यात येतील. त्या 15 स्पर्धकांमध्ये स्ववादाची अंतिम फेरी होईल. परीक्षकांचा निर्णय अंतिम व बंधनकारक राहील. उपरोक्त नियमांव्यतिरिक्त संयोजकांनी वेळोवेळी केलेल्या सूचनांचे पालन करणे अपेक्षित आहे. Thank you so much and all the best to all the participants.
Swamini Patil, you can please begin.
Okay. So am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So here's my first question. Well, to begin with the usual drill, I would introduce myself to you people. So another question, what's my name? Okay. So my name is Swamini Vijay Patil, and I'm a law student from MIT WPU. Um, did you just notice how important those questions were? So next 7 minutes and some seconds, I'm going to speak about how end is inevitable when man is devoid of questions and not answers. And I believe by the end of my speech, every one of us can figure out the Sherlock Holmes inside them. So interesting, right? Because these questions are the torchbearer into the darkness of foolishness, and people who are unaware of their human nature would find this interesting as the hint to get the civilization of human mankind can be bared out from the questions themselves. So, to set the tone of this topic, I would like to start with a small personal insight of my childhood. uh, it was back then when I was 5 years old, and I went to the park with my mother, and I asked my mom, like, "Ma, what's that?" Pointing towards a bird. I wasn't aware that was a bird, right? So I just asked her what it is, and she told me what species of bird it was. It was a crow. So this way, my curiosity was born, right? After seeing everything, I would just go here and there and ask questions regarding to it. Was this? So this is what a 5-year-old would have when he or she goes to the park. But similarly, this curiosity is just not restricted to a 5-year-old, right? It is drastic, and it is covering everyone. Each person on this planet has this curiosity, the hint of curiosity in them. For example, a person sitting in Harvard University would be attending lecture on thermodynamics is related to the 5-year-old, and we all are connected through this asking questions. So if we don't ask questions, we are just lost into the nothingness. And what is this nothingness without questions, right? So this is the entire thing. The questions are so important to human because they show the purpose of human life and how human beings to be precise. The perception of true knowledge, I would repeat, the perception of true knowledge is in particular perceptional logic. The comprehensive presentation of any topic is derived from the perception. So if we don't have a perception, we won't have logic. And if we don't have logic, we don't have knowledge. So yielding not only the judgment that the knowledge is possible, but also that the certainty of the knowledge is possible is important to know. On the specific analogy of the incogradable of perceptual experience by the very goal, by this very, the life goal is determined. And to determine this life goal, what is this life goal? We have to understand this life goal, right? And our life goal is very simple. It is to attain our inner peace by overcoming the adversities, practicing self-control, and being conscious about our impulses, and to realize this our inferior nature. So all while doing all of this, what do we need? We need questions. And be it any religious text, be it Srimad Bhagavad, be it Quran, be it Bible, be it any spiritual text, all they talk about is questions. Anything written in our spiritual text is derived from what we were asking to the god or to the personality, whatever it is prescribed in those religious books, right? So if there is no understanding of what those questions are, if we don't have the curiosity in our brains, we won't have the encouragement to ask those questions. And we would fall apart as a human being, as a spiritual being, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience on this planet. Further, knowledge being the true way of attaining inner peace and a meaningful life, because it is the aim of life to give life a meaning. into the philosophical nature of asking questions, the soul is the soul will be empty if there are no questions asked. Albert Einstein, for example, used to say that one should not stop to ask questions, because now we would ask ourselves, why would he say that? Because it is very simple. In the world of science, questions are the fuel to the engine of research. So to explain scientific questioning in the scientific terms, when a question is asked, right, it triggers a mental reflex in your part of a brain. It is called and that the reply to this reflex is known as instinctive elaboration, and and this leads to the thought process of the very human being. The behavioral science also follows the pattern of questioning, right? The questions asked can be influenced your future decision. It was a study conducted by Vicky Mortwez in the year 1993. According to him, if you ask questions in your present, and they would lead an impact on your future decision making. So here is the entire market philosophy of asking questions. It can influence commerce, it can influence science, it can influence literature, it can influence mathematics as well. Because maths textbooks, everyone has hated maths. To be very honest, no one was a fan of it. But maths textbooks would be empty if there are no questions. So that's the importance of questions, right? We won't be knowing what Pythagoras is if we don't have the question what Pythagoras is. So enough of maths and science. Other professions would be affected on a larger note as well. For an instance, literature and language would lose their voice of expression as quoted by What's in a Name by William Shakespeare. It would make no sense at all. So questions are very important to this world we are living in. If there are no questions, there is no purpose of human society. If there is no purpose of human society, we are failing as human beings because we are losing touch with our humanity itself. So questions are very important. For me as a legal professional, if there are no questions, my entire profession would be dead. I won't have the knowledge I have right now because it is all based on questions. So questions are the deriving force, deriving nature, and they constitute a thought process in my brains. So I would be foolish if I don't have questions to ask. And that's not important what kind of questions you're asking. There should be questions, right? The questions act as a backbone, and it's the reality that influences and corroborates after that backbone is into the presence of of the structure of a human being, right? So if there is this questions asked, then there would be a reality which follow back, and that reality is very hard if we don't have a world where questions are not asked. So imagine a world without questions, and I would rather put it as a world without imagination, because imagination would be dead if there are no questions asked. So there needs to be a world where questions are asked. If the questions are not asked, the world is empty, and it would be just a world without nothingness, and that world without nothingness would lead to disastrous outcomes. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, please note our time, judges. That is 7 minutes 41 seconds.
The next participant is Sarthak Chok. Ketki Patel, please be ready after him.
Am I audible in this way?
Yes, you are. Please begin.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon to one and all present here. My name is Sarthak Chur. I'm a student of VS College of Law, Mumbai. And today I'm going to talk about diplomacy for power by persuasion or coercion. Diplomacy is the art and practice of conducting negotiations between nations. It is also a skill in handling affairs without hostility. Diplomacy has been tacitly used as a negotiating tactic in order to leverage one's ends and wishes and make a successful result out of the same. Global politics at large is manifestly a race to establish territorial, geographical, and bureaucratic supremacy. The desired supremacy requires power to be achieved and upheld. Power, as defined by Robert Dahl, an esteemed political scientist, is the capacity of an individual to make another individual do something that the latter would not have done by themselves. This manifestation of power as an ideological and psychological force is indeed exhibited the most precisely through diplomacy between nations. Countries are routinely at loggerheads with one another. They get into trade disputes and espionage conundrums and international policy scandals of many sorts, and among other things, of course. To maintain parity, develop allies, and ensure one's sovereignty is preserved, persuasion or coercion may be used as two contrasting yet scalable concepts of diplomacy. Both persuasive and coercive diplomacy have found to be used in several instances of global politics. The former more so after the end of the Second World War, but the latter too to prevent another global war. In my speech for today, I shall be drawing comparisons and establishing parallels between the two systems with a brief of case studies and relating it to today's socio-political structure. It was said once by a Chinese diplomat and strategist, Sun Tzu, who said that you can claim to be really successful not when you obtain 100 victories in 100 battles, but rather when you seize your enemy without even fighting. The aforesaid words form the crux of what we may call coercive diplomacy, wherein the imminent threat or danger posed by an enemy is effectively stopped not by a band of military, but by a threat or punishment for the non-compliance. The most recent and latest example of a group of nations resorting to coercive diplomacy could be seen in the United States of America and the wider Western Bloc, imposing threats of levying economic sanctions on Russia should the latter invade Ukraine. Russia's military advancement at the border was sternly met not by deploying similar strength of troops on Russia's borders, but effectively cutting them off from the vast economic trove of the Western nations. Coercive diplomacy is a form of defensive strategy, differing it from blackmail, as the former is used only when a danger is positive and not to initiate one. It is also unlike, let's say, deterrence, as the aim is to abort the action which has already been taken. Due to these reasons, coercive diplomacy is synonymous with compellence. On the other hand, persuasion, or persuasive diplomacy as it's commonly known, is the complete opposite of coercive diplomacy. Persuasion is based on goodwill, kindness, trust, and utmost patience. It has a positive connotation to it, unlike coercion, which has been tagged with a negative and gory connotation. Persuasion is the result of a process whereby one succeeds in convincing another that one's opinion or one's assessment of a particular situation is based on knowledge of related circumstances. It is credible and acceptable, objectively unprejudiced assessment. It is a good judgment and forms clear decisions. One need not persuade one's counterpart that the proposed option is ideal. It is enough to convince that the proposed line of action or proposed decision is the best under prevailing circumstances and valid for the foreseeable future, of course. Persuasion has made it easier if it is backed by integrity, respect, experience, and trust. Persuasion implies influencing one's cognitive processes to accept to agree to a proposal. Certain cases in point which help me augment my argument about persuasion are the world's first major set-piece multilateral negotiation brought together 40 or so imperial states and 27 interest groups, culminating in the Peace of Westphalia in 1648. In 1815 came the even more magnificent Congress of Vienna, with more than 200 states and certain princely houses. In 1919, a mere 27 states took part in the Treaty of Versailles after the end of the First World War. And finally, in 1945, in San Francisco, 50 states, more than 50 states, agreed for the basis of constituting the United Nations. It becomes a Herculean task to choose which of the two systems of diplomacy has the ability to attain the most political power and diplomatic prowess. The quickness of coercive diplomacy is countered by the benevolence of persuasive diplomacy. The sternness of the former counters the belligerence of the latter. Yet a common thread passing between all of the diplomatic relations are grandiose means of propaganda. The nation that can stem ideologies and create a lasting impression attains the means to fulfill their ends. To conclude my speech, I'd like to recount the words of the great American statesman Enrique Singer, who said once that diplomacy is the art of restraining power. But it is also, I'd like to add, the art of restraining force and expanding power. It could be a nation's soft power or the hard muscle power. Either way, the furtherance of power is the aim of any government, and this shall be an evolving mechanism that is inclusive, developmental, sustainable, and peaceable. Thank you very much.
Okay, please notice timing. That is 6 minutes and 44 seconds.
The next participant to go, there's been a slight change. Shubham Shende will be going next. Katie, you could continue after him. Thank you.
आवाज आहे का नाही? Hello?
Yes. I also request all participants to only reveal their name and their topic and do not mention any other details. Thank you.
आवाज आहे का नाही? Hello?
Yes, yes. You're audible.
नमस्कार, माझं नाव शुभम सतीश शेंडे, SM जोशी कॉलेज हडपसर, आणि मी विषय बोलत आहे सत्तेसाठी मुत्सद्देगिरी सामोपचाराने की सक्तीने. पृथ्वीवरती असंख्य वर्षांपूर्वी मानवाचं अस्तित्व निर्माण झालं. हा मानव हा सर्वात प्रारंभी एकटा राहत होता. यानंतर याच्या सामाजिक आणि भौतिक गरजांच्या निर्मितीसाठी हा मानव समूह करून राहू लागला. यामध्ये प्रत्येक व्यक्तीचे विचार भिन्न होते, परंतु आपला विचार इतरांवरती लादण्यासाठी व्यक्तीमध्ये संघर्ष होऊन मुत्सद्देगिरीचा जन्म झाला, आणि यातूनच सत्तेच्या उदयामध्ये मुत्सद्देगिरीचा सक्तीने आणि सामोपचाराने मानवाने प्रथम वापर केला, असं मत मानववंशशास्त्रज्ञ युval नोहारा सेपियन्स नावाच्या पुस्तकामध्ये नोंदवतात. अर्थात अतिप्राचीन काळापासून सत्तेसाठी मुत्सद्देगिरी वापर होत आहे, परंतु ही मुत्सद्देगिरी कशी होती, सामोपचाराने की सक्तीने? कधी कधी ती सक्तीने होती, कधी कधी ती सामोपचाराने होती. अर्थात ही सत्ता फक्त आणि फक्त एखाद्या देशापुरती मर्यादित आहे का? तर नाही. एखाद्या समूहापुरती मर्यादित आहे का? तर नक्कीच नाही. एखाद्या विशिष्ट जमातीसाठी मर्यादित आहे का? तर नक्कीच नाही. अर्थात धर्मामध्ये सुद्धा एखादा धर्म ज्यावेळेस दुसऱ्या धर्माला आपला धर्म कसा प्रबळ आहे, आपल्या धर्माचे विचार कसे प्रबळ आहेत हे पटवून देतो आणि त्यांना आपला धर्म स्वीकारायला लावतो, त्यावेळेस त्या धर्मानं त्या लोकांमध्ये आपली सत्ता प्रस्थापित करण्यासाठी सामोपचार पद्धतीने केलेला वापर असतो. आणि ज्या त्या धर्मातील लोक तलवारीच्या जोरावरती त्या लोकांना आपला धर्म स्वीकारायला बाध्य करतात, त्यावेळेस त्या ठिकाणी त्या धर्मानं सक्तीनं सत्ता प्रस्थापित करण्यासाठी स्वीकारलेला तो मार्ग असतो. अर्थात सत्तेसाठी सामोपचार किंवा जी सक्ती आहे ही सर्वत्र आपल्याला वापरलेली दिसून येते. सक्तीने तो धर्म स्वीकारायला बाध्य केलेला दिसून येतो. या मुत्सद्देगिरीच्या भारताबाबत विचार करत असताना या मुत्सद्देगिरीचे वर्णन कौटिल्याच्या अर्थशास्त्र या ग्रंथामध्ये येते. मुत्सद्देगिरी भारतामध्ये अत्यंत प्रभावीपणे प्राचीन काळापासून वापरलेली तुम्हाला दिसून येते. मानवाच्या उत्पत्तीपासून त्यानंतर प्राचीन भारताचा अभ्यास करत असताना कौटिल्य नावाची व्यक्ती चंद्रगुप्ताला सत्तेवरती आणण्यासाठी, तसेच उत्तर भारतातील मॅसेडियन राजवट उलथवून लावण्यासाठी अत्यंत मुत्सद्देपणाचे धोरण चाणक्य नावाचा व्यक्ती अवलंबतो, आणि सत्तेवरती आणण्यासाठी त्या ठिकाणी सामोपचाराने, तर कधी नंदकुळाच्या नाशासाठी सत्तेवरती चंद्रगुप्ताला आणण्यासाठी मुत्सद्देपणाने सक्तीने त्या ठिकाणी तो त्याचा नाश करतो. सम्राट अशोक ज्यावेळेस बौद्ध धर्माचा प्रचार करू लागतो, त्यावेळेस तो जो उत्पत्तीपणा आपल्या बौद्धिक सत्ता प्रस्थापित करण्यासाठी आणि बौद्ध धर्माचा प्रचार आणि प्रसार करण्यासाठी राबवतो. अर्थात बौद्ध धर्म सर्वत्र पसरवण्यासाठी आणि त्याचा प्रभाव सर्वत्र आणण्यासाठी राबवतो. तो एक सामोपचाराने घेतलेला निर्णय असतो. परंतु या मुत्सद्देगिरीचं सत्तेसाठी आणि सक्तीने आणि सामोपचाराने हा विचार करत असताना 21व्या शतकामध्ये मुत्सद्देगिरी हा विचार लक्षात घेत असताना आधुनिक कला म्हणजे थिएटर रूझवेल्ट यांची मोठी काठी वापरणं, परंतु डिजिटल आणि कधीही नम्रपणे बोलणे ही व्याख्या 21व्या शतकामध्ये सत्तेसाठी मुत्सद्देगिरी सामोपचाराने की सक्तीने या शब्दांचा अर्थ लक्षात घेत असताना आपण सहजरित्या करू शकतो. 21व्या शतकातील जागतिक बदलांचा मुत्सद्देगिरीच्या वास्तविक रूपावरती सर्वात खोल परिणाम हा आहे की आधुनिक राज्यांमध्ये विशेषतः पाश्चात्य लोकशाहीमध्ये सार्वजनिक क्षेत्र वाढू लागले आहेत आणि आपल्या समाजाचे तुकडे होणं ही प्रक्रिया या शतकाला गती देणारी आहे, ज्यामुळे आपली घरे, व्यावसायिक शिक्षण, स्वारस्य, अनुभव आणि वैचारिक अभिमुखता वाढत्या प्रमाणात भिन्न होत आहे. व्यक्तींच्या वाढत्या विविधतेची संलग्नता, नाटोचा सत्तेसाठी राजनैतिक प्रयत्न 1998च्या शरद ऋतूमध्ये झाला आणि त्यामुळे ही गोष्ट सुरक्षा दलांची लक्षणीय माघार हा टप्पा जबरदस्ती मुत्सद्देगिरीचा म्हणजे सक्तीच्या मुत्सद्देगिरीसाठी एक माफक यश दर्शवतो. परंतु फेब्रुवारी-मार्च 1999 मध्ये झालेल्या दुसऱ्या टप्प्यात अयशस्वी मध्यस्थी झाली आणि मुत्सद्देगिरीवर म्हणजेच नाटोवरती अपयश आल्यानंतर नाटोवरती बॉम्बफेक सुरू झाली. हा टप्पा जबरदस्ती मुत्सद्देगिरीचा होता. अंतिम टप्पा एप्रिल ते जून 1999 या कालावधीमध्ये पार पडला. तो एकसंघ होता कारण यामुळे युरोपीय संयुक्त राष्ट्रांच्या परिषदेच्या ठरावानुसार 1244च्या अटी इतर देशांना मान्य करायला लागल्या. ही राबवली जाणारी मुत्सद्देगिरी ही नक्कीच यश किंवा अपयश देणारी आहे का, हे आपल्याला नाटोच्या उदाहरणातून शिकायला मिळते. कारण मुत्सद्देगिरीमुळे यश किंवा अपयश हे नक्की मिळू शकतं का, हे कधीच कोणी सांगू शकत नाही. मुत्सद्देगिरी वापरण्याबाबत राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा आणि परराष्ट्र धोरण याबाबत आतापर्यंत अधिकृत एकही सिद्धांत अस्तित्वात नाही, जो आर्थिक शक्तींच्या वापरासाठी आणि सत्तेसाठी मार्गदर्शन करेल. मुत्सद्देगिरीचा वापर कसा करावा याबाबत मार्गदर्शन करेल. विचारसरणीचा अभाव, सशस्त्र बळाच्या वापराला चालना देणारी तत्वे आणि यामुळे निर्माण झालेली मुत्सद्देगिरीसाठी नियुक्त केलेल्या जबाबदार नेत्यांचा उल्लेख करून सशस्त्र बळावर वापरण्यात येणारी मुत्सद्देगिरी ही नियंत्रण ठेवणाऱ्या विस्तृत लष्करी सिद्धांताचा तीव्र विरोधाभास आहे. असं मला सत्तेसाठी जी मुत्सद्देगिरी शक्ती आणि समाजकाराने वापरली जाते याबद्दल बोलताना मी असं म्हणेल, अफगाणिस्तानमध्ये तालिबानी लोक आक्रमण करतात, तेथील सैन्य अमेरिका नेमकं कशा पद्धतीने माघारी घालवते, मग त्यामध्ये अफगाणिस्तानची मुत्सद्देगिरी असते का, किंवा त्यामध्ये नेमकी कोणाची मुत्सद्देगिरी असते का अमेरिकेची छुपी मुत्सद्देगिरी असते, हे तुम्ही आम्ही कधीच सांगू शकत नाही. क्युबामध्ये फिडेल कास्ट्रो आणि चे गेवेरा यांनी अमेरिकेच्या विरोधात पुकारलेलं बंड तिथल्या लोकांना भावनिक मुरड पाडतं. म्हणजे कधी कधी मुत्सद्देगिरी ही सक्तीने आणि समापचाराने सुद्धा नाही तर भावनिक बळावरती सुद्धा घेतली जाते. आणि मात्र अमेरिकेविरुद्ध बंड पुकारताना ते लोक सक्तीने त्या ठिकाणी बंड पुकारतात. ही बाब ज्यावेळेस मुत्सद्देगिरी सामोपचाराने की सक्तीने या बाबतीत बोलत असताना मला वाटतं तुम्ही आम्ही लक्षात घेतली पाहिजे. शेवटी काय, मुत्सद्देगिरी ही जी संकल्पना आहे सत्तेसाठी आपण सक्तीने वापरतोय किंवा सामोपचाराने वापरतोय, याचं यश काय आहे किंवा याचा कोणता पर्याय चांगला हे आपण कधीच ठरवू शकत नाही. मला वाटतं ज्या मुत्सद्देगिरीमध्ये जी मुत्सद्देगिरी सक्तीने किंवा सामोपचाराने आपण वाढवतो त्यामध्ये लोकहित आहे, समाजहित आहे, कल्याण आहे. मग ती सक्तीने असो किंवा समापचाराने असो ती मुत्सद्देगिरी आपण वापरायला हवी. एकंदरीत रशिया आणि युक्रेनचा संदर्भ घेत असताना त्यांची मुत्सद्देगिरी हे आपल्याला लोकहिताकडे घेऊन जाणारे आहे का, तर नक्कीच नाहीये. हे तिसऱ्या महायुद्धाला आपण आमंत्रण देत आहोत का, यामधून लोककल्याण आहे का, तर नक्कीच नाही. मला वाटतं मुत्सद्देगिरीच्या माध्यमातून लोककल्याण होणं अत्यंत गरजेचं आहे. मग ते सामोपचारानं असो किंवा सक्तीनं असो ते लोककल्याण या माध्यमातून व्हावं, सत्तेनं ते करावं एवढाच माफक आशावाद व्यक्त करतो आणि थांबतो. मनपूर्वक धन्यवाद.
Okay, please note his timing. That is 7 minutes and 47 seconds.
Ketki, do we have you here? Thank
Yes, am I visible and audible?
you. Yes. Anushka Advani, please be ready. You can begin, Ketki.
Okay. Greetings and namaste. I'm Ketki Patil. I'm not any nutritionist or any psychologist or a yoga instructor or a gym trainer, but being a responsible citizen of this world today, I'm here to share my views on the topic awareness and implementation for including holistic health. The greatest gift you can give to the world is a healthy you. Let's start by asking ourselves, what do we think when we hear the term health? We only consider the physical health. We recognize someone as healthy when they have a disease-free body. But let's question ourselves. Is the disease-free body the only overall criteria for healthy person? The answer is a big no. So for us, it is very important to understand what is the core meaning of holistic health. What is holistic health? When we use the term holistic in the domain of health and lifestyle, it denotes the connection of mind, body, spirit working in harmony and balance with each other. However, to our health, what we mean is the picture, not just be only the physical factors, but mental, social, psychological, and the cultural factors as well. Our physical health is something which often people think when we talk about health. This is mostly because our physical body is something which shows the physical sign and is easier to trace. However, in today's modern world, many of our systems and customs seem to be organized in the way that separates different facets of health. For an example, a nutritionist, if you go to, will tell you how to eat healthy. Whereas if you go to a therapist, he or she will tell you how to deal with stress. There is very little or absolutely no crossover guidance for a framework which gives you something to fit as a system as a whole. It seems that we have forgotten the idea that health encompasses not just the physical factors, but it also means having healthy habits, having healthy thoughts, having coping mechanisms, and peaceful ways relating to our environment and to everybody around. However, this pandemic has played a very vital role in highlighting the importance of holistic health more than ever before. We often overlook the emotional health. We are often seeing, when we have COVID or any other major diseases, what people tell us: remain strong, be strong, think about positive thoughts. Why do we say so? Why do we hear so? If we feel that only the medicines are going to work on us, why do we hear people giving these recommendations? It is because your mental health is equally important and has serious consequences on your physical health, either to deteriorate it or to make it and recover you from it. Research has shown the happiest and the healthiest people on the planet are the ones who are deeply connected to the family, friends, and the community. Thus, spirituality is something which helps a person to be healthy, to be happy, and provide a deep sense of community and support. So now let's address the question: why is this topic of supreme importance today? Why do we need awareness and implementation of holistic health? While people are living longer due to the technological advancement in medical sector, they're also experiencing very high level of chronic stress and fatigue. People are consuming nutrient depleted foods. Today, the water we drink, the food we eat, the land we walk on, everything is being exposing us to so many chemicals, right from the toothpaste in the morning to the night cream in the evening. We are being only consumed by so many chemicals. So to say that holistic health is important would definitely be an understatement today. But sadly, many are still caught in the synthetic and the Western ways to cure the health. The youth today has been the praise to the gimmicks of technology. Today, the internet consumption is increased 50% more than that of a decade ago. Due to the lockdowns and all this coronavirus pandemic, sports and physical activities, the importance of it has been totally blurred. The circumstances today are not very facilitating for a nutritional overall growth of any person. Thus, by deeply analyzing today's situation, we understand that holistic health is the need of the hour. For us, we are living with so many chronic disease and undiagnosable symptoms. One thing we can say that the modern day healthcare system has definitely failed us. The implementation of holistic health should begin from the grassroots level. Now, what do I mean when I say grassroots level? It means that it should start right from the schools, from the education institutions wherein they have this inculcated in the curriculums, because the children today should know how important it is to have an overall health and holistic health. The corporate sector should adopt more holistic health-based working models wherein they should include not just the physical things but mental, spiritual and social factors as well. The healthcare professionals today should have the environment and proximity which is capable of offering a medical services from a holistic point of view, wherein the patients, not just physical aspects are being considered, but sociological and psychological aspects of the patients are also considered for the overall well-being. Holistic health also takes into account many external environmental factors which could be supporting or depleting our wellness in total. So today we know we have been experiencing climate change in such abundance. We are seeing how climate change is impacting our day-to-day life, the temperature, the global warming, the pollution. In this way, we feel that we need to have holistic health to have a systematic approach in dealing with health in the near future, for the goal of achieving maximum well-being where everything works just fine. As we move into the future, perhaps more people will realize how balanced approach is necessary, and it is time that we have a holistic, whole body-based solution for an option to treat and to take care of patients and other people, millions of people living on this planet today. With holistic health approach, I'm certain that the world would be a healthier place. Let's understand the importance of it and make world a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. Thank you so much.
Okay, please note our timing. That is 7 minutes, 21 seconds.
Anushka, do we have you here? Great. Aditya Bamne, please be ready. You'll be speaking after her. Anushka, you may begin. Thank you.
Good morning. Am I audible? Good afternoon.
Yes, you're both audible and visible.
Okay. Oh my God, sustainability takes forever. Well, yes, that's the whole point. Good afternoon to everyone present here. I'm Anushka Vishal Atwani, 3E, and I'll be talking on the topic sustainability-focused marketing, whether it's a gimmick or a sincere effort. So when a substance has an ability to last or preserve or maintain itself over a period of time, it's sustainable. Till death do us apart. It's not just a wedding vow. It talks about sustaining a relationship. And similarly, environmental sustainability is our ability to sustain a healthy relationship with the earth, which humans we are not very good at. But we do learn and we are improving, and we do have a lot of ways that we have tackled these problems. One of them being sustainable marketing. It is marketing of products and services that don't harm the environment and that last for a long time. If they don't last, those products can renew themselves in an eco-friendly manner. So that is basically sustainable marketing. The question remains, is it a gimmick or is it a sincere effort? Well, the answer is not black or white, because sustainability is a huge term and it has a lot of aspects in it. Let's take all our contestants as an example. We're all college goers, and whether we'd like to admit it or not, we all want to be like Rahul and Tina from Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, where the way we dress. So colleges are fashion hubs. But sadly, 84% of our clothes go to the landfill. Increasing population, increase in wealth, they all add to this never-ending pile. And this saddens a lot of people to the point where they restrain themselves from buying, which threatens a lot of businesses. So the new and upcoming businesses have eco-friendly models, but the old established businesses need to change their entire business model. And one example that I can think of is H&M. They're a worldwide clothing brand. They provide fast fashion. And they have developed a model for eco-friendly, sustainable practices. They have an excellent marketing team where they have attractive banners. They use child role models to attract even sustainability-focused consumers. They accept your old clothes and give you a discount and recycle those old clothes. but they are fast fashion, they produce in bulk, and that defeats the whole purpose of sustainable fashion. If you take the conscious collection, which is a recycled clothes, it's more toxic than a freshly made pair of jeans. They are greenwashing the public. This is a gimmick. But on the other hand, there are lots of clothing companies who are genuinely passionate and do have eco-friendly products. This was about clothes. Everyone wears clothes. But another everyday household item is agarbatti, incense sticks. So Indians in Asia in particular have a lot of temple waste. We have flowers, fruits, milk, and these all pollute the rivers. Pool is an initiative that combats three problems. The first problem is that they reduce our temple waste by using old flowers that have been disposed into rivers to make their incense sticks. Secondly, they clean the rivers by doing so. And thirdly, they employ women. The founder is Mr. Agarwal, and he, based in Kanpur, saw a lot of people taking a dip in, the holy water of Ganga, and he realized that it's very polluted, and he wanted to do something. And not only Mr. Agarwal, but even recently deceased Mr. Bajaj, they think about the community. This is a sincere effort. I spoke about the manufacturing, but now I'd like to talk about the consumer aspect. A lot of people in this world cannot afford sustainable products. And this is what changes their mindset regarding whether this is a gimmick or whether it's a sincere effort. Majority of the world population is poor. And if they can't afford the basic necessities, food, clothing, and shelter, they could not care less about whether sustainability is good or not. They will find it a gimmick. Because money puts everything into perspective. They just want their children to go to sleep with a full stomach. This is disheartening, but we can also learn a lot from them. Just because they don't buy eco-friendly products doesn't mean they don't use the non-eco-friendly products in a sustainable way. We can learn, and I'm pretty sure everybody unknowingly practices a lot of sustainable practices. Tell me, how many people over here have a huge plastic bag in their kitchen with small plastic bags inside? How many parents collect boxes from parcels and they make stationery boxes out of it, or they put their accessories in it? How many people have old clothes go to their maids or become dusting cloths? This is sustainability. It's a process. You don't have to buy green products. And by doing this, we also save a lot of money. And I want to talk about the plastic bags because plastic has a very bad rep in our community. Plastic is extremely important. It was made in a lab. It's not eco-friendly. But if we didn't have plastic, our medical industry would not have been where it is today. Even a simple thing like mithai would not be able to reach your house without soaking your entire bag. We need plastic. And once you realize this and found alternatives, which are very expensive, and a lot of small businesses can't do it and will go into losses if they do so, we have to understand that it's not buying green, it's about thinking green. So I would like to conclude by saying that sustainable is not buying eco or buying green. It's about thinking eco, being eco, and living an eco lifestyle. And I urge everyone to take the initiative to use rough papers for math calculations and to buy from green companies. But I don't want anybody to think that they have to wait for someone else to save their planet. Do the little steps and you can do so yourself. Thank you.
Okay, please note the timing. That is 6 minutes and 51 seconds.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible and visible. I'll just request Sejal Dugar to be ready after Aditya. Yes, Aditya, please begin.
My name is Aditya, and my topic is the data game trade-off between profits and privacy. Here, there are two important words. First is data. In my topic, data signifies that any post or any transaction or anything you search on the internet. It can be used by that big company, and it can be helpful. It is helpful from them to protect our behavior, our needs, our choices, including our personal data like birth date, where do we live, where are we now, what are we doing, etc., etc. But another second word is trade-off. Trade-off is something like give something by compromising another thing. In this topic, we are talking about profiting by compromising our privacy. But now, who is profiting from our data? Companies like big tech companies uh, and other institutions. It also includes our health institutions, educational institutions, or any apps like health apps or simple apps like calculator. There are many apps on Google Store which show their calculator, but they ask for request permission for our storage and call data. We just allow them. We don't see what are these permissions for. We just accept it, and this kind of apps they run in background. They tamper our data. Sometimes there are malwares from third-party apps or third-party websites which can compromise our data, and this data is collected by shady organizations or shady traders. It is called data miners or data brokers. They collect our data and they sell it to the companies, mainly advertisement companies. Whenever we see any third-party website in upper corner or below, bottom corner, we see advertise. Sometimes these advertises are relatable. We wonder how can this advertise. This is good one. I was looking for this kind of shirt or this kind of mobile, or I was looking for this kind of serial to watch. Similar things happen in a physical world also. Our educational data or our health data, it is also being digitalized. And there are some companies or some people who try to monetize this data by selling this data to other bigger companies for their shady purposes. Whenever now we are talking about data privacy. Data privacy compromise mainly five things. First one is control and use of data. Second one is transparency of using that data. Third one is regulating data, cross-border data. Like we live in India, but our data is stored in American or European servers. Fourth one is necessity of data localization. Some sensitive data, it should be localized within a country for national importance. Fifth one is most of important security of data. Now first point, control and use of data. We log into Facebook or Twitter, we give our information like our birth, we upload our photos, we express our political or social beliefs, we share other things. This kind of this all data is analyzed by Facebook, and often they hamper us with say their targeted advertisers based on our data. Second one is transparency of data. We not sure what kind of data we have given to the big tech companies. Big tech companies never disclose what kind of data they have on us and what kind of data used for what purposes. It is biggest concern regarding data privacy. Third one is regulating cross-border data flow. There are some very sensitive data like your focus. It can be used for your iris scan. Then there are biometrics. We lock our mobiles with our fingerprint. This data is easily compromised and used for hacking. Used by hacking for do transactions on a darknet. Our identity can be cloned using these biometrics and used in criminal activities. Fourth one is necessity of data localization. In this cyber conflict world, there are many state-sponsored hackers, like from China, Russia, or North Korea. They attack on servers important for national security. So it is important that this data should be these servers should be inside our country so that even if there is cyber attack, it can be physically accessible in short time. Fifth one is security of data. As I say, hacking. Hacking is biggest concern when it comes to data privacy. Now we are heading towards metaverse, where there will be an augmented reality where we can touch, we can live in virtual world. We can do activities like physical world, but in virtual sense. This kind of world is very scary because it affects our not only materialistic world but also our psychological sense. Unfortunately,
Sorry to interrupt, but you are not audible properly.
database, then
Please check your net connectivity.
it could be very hello 1 minute.
Please check your net connectivity because you were not audible properly.
Hello.
You are audible, Aditya. You can go on.
So my point was security of metaverse. In this metaverse, if things go sideways, it can psychologically damage person. So there should be a law which can regulate this data. Users users should be informed for what kind of data companies have and what kind of data they share with other companies. How they use this data. Thank you.
Okay. Please notice timing, that is 7 minutes and 44 seconds.
There's been a slight change. Afia will be speaking next. Afia, do we have you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Are you both audible and visible? You can begin. Thank you.
Thank you. Wellness encompasses a healthy body, a sound mind, and a tranquil spirit. Enjoy the journey as you strive for wellness. Respected judges and fellow participants, a very warm good afternoon to you all. I, Afia Fatima, is pleased to have received this opportunity to express my views on the topic awareness and implementation for inculcating holistic health. To begin with, health can be defined as complete sense of well-being rather than just absence of illness. Holistic health is defined as an approach to life that considers multidimensional aspects of wellness. The 5 aspects of holistic health are physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and mental. When it comes to holistic health, we look beyond the physical body and address all the 5 aspects. A holistic health approach is essential to address the leading cause of the problem rather than just the symptoms. It is also essential to prevent illnesses and find long-term solutions for existing illnesses. To explain in simple terms, the concept of holistic health is like the 5 fingers of our hand. Even if one finger is hurt or injured, we realize how difficult it is for the hand to function. That's exactly how each of the five aspects are important and interdependent. If any of the aspect is in trouble, the entire system of the person is troubled. It is now understood that holistic health approach is important. But how can we implement that? The answer is very simple. When we focus and practice habits that take care of each of the aspects, holistic health can be successfully achieved. By now, we all know what holistic health is, but do you think it is still relevant and still applicable to the times and the conditions that we are living right now and the kind of lifestyle that we are having today? I think something that we should all be enlightened about is how we can implement the knowledge of holistic health and alternate it according to today's time, especially to be specific, the post COVID time, where the entire timetable, the body clock, the health, habits, and practices have changed a lot. Working on improving health, specifically holistic health, is very difficult, especially because we've been leading nearly 2 years of life in the pandemic that was sedentary. This pandemic is now a part of the history and, most importantly, our life. So it is essential that we alter and change a few things which are necessary. The losses incurred during the pandemic is now done, but the time that we have in our hands now is crucial. What couldn't be done earlier can be done now, but we definitely need something that should be motivating us, right? Allow me to share with everyone present here some facts and statistics that will surely change your mind to work on your health holistically. Did you know children and adolescents engage in 435 minutes lesser of physical activity, that is about 7 hours, and spend 28 more hours on screen per week since the outbreak of the pandemic? Nearly 70% of the people reported that their physical activity decreased to a great extent, and the time spent by the working population and the learning population on screen range from 5 to 8 hours per day. We know the ill effects of diminished excuse me. We know the ill effects of diminished physical activity and increased screen time. But who do we blame? The pandemic. The late night snacking habit has been observed in 44% of the population. And these snacks were mainly plain in carbohydrates and calories with no other nutrients. These snacks were consumed while watching television and shows late at night by sacrificing sleep and increasing screen time, which was already pretty high. This developed something known as metabolic syndrome. A study also reported the increase in frequency and quantity of the preserved and ready-to-eat meats. About 30% of the population, due to lack of their nutritional knowledge, skipped meals and restricted eating due to the fear of gaining weight. All these practices showed an impact on the sleeping pattern and its quality as well, which resulted in stress and other mental disturbances. These statistics are sure to shock anyone. But being a student of nutrition, it terrifies me. We now know the reasons for it, but the real challenge is to overcome these reasons and focus on something that is most important, that is you. In fact, the better and the healthier you. The strict isolation rules are now being lifted. The losses that our health experience now needs to be reversed. First thing to start off is to reduce the time spent on screen. Now we don't have the excuse of work as it's mostly done offline. Limit your entertainment time on screen and try different things like taking a walk, for example, which is going to help you increase your physical activity time as well. Physical activity has many known positive impacts like better mental health, it boosts good mood, improves digestion, it helps you in having a healthier appetite, it improves your sleep quality and also your spiritual health. If going outdoors is not possible, try fun things like Zumba, aerobics, dance, or some other activities which will give you the same advantages. Include more organic components in your diet rather than the preserved ones, and include more grain foods like almonds and fishes, etc. Follow a timetable, plan your meals, and focus on yourself. When you follow simple things like these, you are automatically able to fix your sleep schedule and your physical health. Now, good physical health, as the previously mentioned habits, will make sure that you have a good emotional and mental health as well. For good social health, go ahead and meet people. Talk to your friends and family and meet them. Isn't this what was we were craving for during the pandemic? But make sure who deserves what place in your life. Do not allow anyone to influence your life in ways you don't want. We now know what holistic health is and how we can implement it in our life according to the situations that we face. The next important thing to do is create awareness about it. It is important to help others make their life easy just as making ours. Only a very small fraction of people know about holistic health. Social media plays a major role in creating awareness. You can share your habits and practices as an approach to holistic health and inspire other people to initiate those in their life as well. The concept of holistic health should be a part of our education system right from the school level itself. I would like to now conclude my words by saying something very old and well known. Where there is a will, there is a way. Start today, at least think about it, and in no time you will actually achieve it. Lastly, I would like to thank all of you for patiently lending a ear to my words. Thank you.
Okay, her timing is 7 minutes 58 seconds.
Sejal, do we have you here?
Yes.
Could you switch on your camera? Yeah, perfect.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible. You can begin now. Thank you.
Okay. A wave of change, Indians and their investment interest. Come on, let's dive into the backdrop of this story. When we were kids, we were always scared to see those rising waves impending towards us. Sometimes we were choppy and unstoppable, and sometimes we were inexcusable and motionless. And we, the investors, we are always trying to stand still and maintain the balance in those waves. By making I, Sejal Dugad, would like to broaden your mind towards the investment interests of India. By making investments, we are saving and accumulating a corpus for a rainy day. By investing in best investment options in India, you can achieve your financial goals by creating wealth, but also create a financial cushion for a future to live a secure life. Significantly, inflation decreases the worth of your money and reduces your purchasing power. There is no control over the inflation rate. So, to stay ahead of the inflation, your money has to grow so that we get a sky high returns and double their money as per their risk appetite. With the mounting Omicron led surge in the COVID 19 cases, the world has poured a cold water on the hopes of rapid economic recovery and dampen investor sentiments. In this crucial time, people began to understand the importance of financial securities and assets. As Warren Buffett quoted, we are sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Speaking about long time ago, the history of investment banking in India traces back to when European merchant banks first established trading houses in the 19th century. In the 1970s, the State Bank of India entered the business by creating a bureau of merchant banking, and ICICI Securities became the first Indian financial institute to offer merchant banking and services as well. There are two buckets that financial products fall into, and they are financial and non-financial assets. Financial assets can be divided into two parts, that is multi-linked products such as stocks or mutual funds, and fixed income products like provident funds, fixed deposits, etc. And non-financial assets. Many Indian invest by this mode: physical gold and real estates. In reality, the only mantra is risk and return is directly related. They go in hand. The higher the returns, the higher the risk, and vice versa. To sum up, there is a variety of saving schemes spread across the risk profiles that cater a variety of investors, like unit-linked insurance plans. ULIP plans offer dual benefits, insurance and investments all in one. So, and next comes the mutual funds. RBI funds, RBI taxable funds have a tenure of 7 years and offer an interest rate of 7.15 per annum in cumulative as well as non-cumulative way. Next comes the investment in real estate is on the rising with the continuing trend. One of the fastest growing sector in India. Real estate is also lets you have a portfolio which lowers your volatility and provides high returns with reduction in stamp duty and premium charges. Investments in the real estate sector have grown and doubled their value in 10 years. Next comes the government guaranteed schemes like Public Provident Fund, Pradhan Mantri Vaya Vandana Yojana, post office monthly income schemes, national pension schemes, senior citizen savings schemes, and whatnot. With a key repo rate of 4%, FD rates vary from 2.9 to 5.4 for different tenures as per SBI Bank. With even the current saving rate is low, varying from 7.4 on senior citizen savings schemes and public provident fund. The direct equity. Next comes direct equity, which can also be called as the pandemic arrest. Stock market don't grow out of thin air. They have a solid base of reality, but the reality is distorted by the misconception. So, investing in stocks might not be everyone's cup of tea, as its volatility asset class, and there is no guarantee of returns. Millions of millennials began piling into stock market in the pandemic era. SBI report states that the number of individual investors in the market has increased by whooping of 142 lakh in financial year 2021. Gold ETF exchange traded funds are also one of the most demanded ones. It is an alternate way of owing gold paper gold. Isn't it interesting? It's a combination of gold investments and stocks, both in one. Next, and the new monstrous wave of the future generation is cryptocurrency. How can I forget that? Isn't it? Some say it is a treacherous bubble, and others says it is a pragmatic bubble. The cryptocurrency is a digital currency, and also the new digital asset that will change the market structure and maybe even the architecture of internet itself. As announced in budget 2022, it is proposed that RBI is going to launch a digital currency to counter cryptocurrency, and the income from the transfer of virtual digital assets such as crypto NFTs will be taxed at 30%. Recently, South Korea, USA, Russia legalized cryptocurrency. Japan and Australia also have a positive outlook towards this. While investing, you have a risk of losing all. It is time consuming to research, and there is emotional ups and downs with high taxation. But see for yourself, investment helps you grow with your economy and stay ahead of inflation. And it is easy to buy online, everything. You get high interest and liquidity as well. As an investor, you should not get confused between savings and investments. While saving is considered an aloof method of wealth collection, despite this, brilliant investors technique assist you in creating more wealth. In research, it is stated that single people tended to save more than married ones. For long-term goals, it is important to save the use of both worlds and not put all the eggs in one basket. Have a judicial mix of investment, keeping risk, taxation, and time horizon all in mind. The investor sector has demonstrated an indomitable spirit and remained robust in the market of decades. Even after the shock wave of COVID-19, India's interest rates are at a historic low, and the Reserve Bank of India gives a firm assurance in maintaining the status quo has further boosted India to follow the bullish trend in 2022. The finance minister Nirmala Sitaram said that the current year may as well end with the economic reset manifest of the post-pandemic world. It added the commitment in the union budget towards asset creation with invigorate the virtuous cycle of investment and the crowd in the private investment marketplace. So To conclude, a favorable macroeconomic environment supported by a structural reform, including liberalization of financial markets, should help domestic savings to increase substantially. The journey from land investments to now cryptocurrency has a period increase. Can I just conclude? Last one sentence.
No, your time is over.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Aditya, you're next. I just request all participants to not refer or read from any material whatsoever. Please ensure that you're not doing so. Aditya,
Am I visible and audible?
yes, please begin.
Okay, judges, please note the time of Sejal Dugat. That is 8 minutes and 16 seconds.
Okay, so shall I start?
Yes, please.
नमस्कार व सादर प्रणाम। मैं आदित्य गुप्ता आप सबके समक्ष मेरे विषय संदेह से, विचार से, जिज्ञासा से उद्भाव है, अधूरा है मानव जिसमें सवाल का बहाव है, इस विषय पर प्रकाश डालना चाहूंगा। आज हम यहाँ वाद विवाद नहीं करेंगे, ना ही मैं अपने मित्रों की कही गई बातों का खंडन करूंगा। आज हम यहाँ शांतिपूर्वक इस विषय पर बात करेंगे और महोदय आपकी आज्ञा से मैं अपने तर्कों को रखकर इस विषय के बारे में मेरे विचार प्रकट करना चाहूंगा। महात्मा गांधी ने कहा है, हालांकि ये अंग्रेजी में कहा है उन्होंने, लेकिन मैं आपको इसे अंग्रेजी में कहकर उसका हिंदी अनुवाद समझाना चाहूंगा। महात्मा गांधी ने कहा है, persistent questioning and healthy inquisitiveness are the first requisite for acquiring any learning. महात्मा गांधी ये कहना चाहते हैं कि सवाल पूछना और जिज्ञासा सबसे पहली कड़ी है किसी भी चीज को समझने और उसके बारे में जानने की। अब सवाल क्या होता है, ये कब होता है, कैसे होता है, क्यों होता है और किसे होता है, ऐसा हम हमारे आसपास व कई अलग अलग चीजें देखकर सवाल उत्पन्न होता है, चाहे वे संदेह से हो, विचार से हो या जिज्ञासा से हो। मनुष्य के पास कई सवाल होते हैं कि मैं कौन हूँ, वह गाड़ी चल रही है, क्या ये एसी बिना बिजली के काम कर सकता है, क्या ये आदमी अच्छा है, क्या हम जो कर रहे हैं वो कैसे संभव हो पा रहा है, हम ऑनलाइन बैठे आज बात कर सकते हैं, संभव कैसे हो पा रहा है, शायद मैं इस बार अव्वल आ जाऊं। ऐसे कई सवाल हैं जो हमारे मस्तिष्क में उत्पन्न होते हैं। ऐसे अरबों विचार हमारे मस्तिष्क में संदेह, विचार और जिज्ञासा से जन्म लेते हैं। हमारे जीवन से लेकर हमारी मृत्यु तक ये हमारे साथ रहते हैं। कहीं कहीं तो यह भी माना जाता है कि मनुष्य यानी सवाल और मनुष्य ही उसका जवाब। सवाल का जन्म भी मानव से होता है और उसका जवाब भी मानव ही खोजता है। जिंदगी के कई सवालों का उत्तर खोजना ही मानव की नियति है। इस बीच वह खेल कूद कर, पढ़ लिख कर, काम कर कर, वह परिवार बनाकर स्वयं के प्रश्नों का उत्तर ही खोजता है, चाहे वो यह हो कि क्या वो अपने सपने पूरे कर पाएगा, या वो यह हो कि जिंदगी का असल में अर्थ क्या है, कि मैं जीवित क्यों हूं, मैं धरती पर क्यों हूं। ऐसे कई सवाल होते हैं जिंदगी के बारे में और अपने बारे में या विज्ञान के बारे में। मैं मानता हूं कि सवाल का होना अति आवश्यक है। सोचिए, जब न्यूटन पेड़ के नीचे बैठे थे और उन पर सेब गिरा तो उन्होंने सोचा, अगर वह नहीं इस बारे में सोचते, अगर वह सेब गिरता और वो इस बारे में नहीं सोचते कि वह क्यों गिरा और कैसे उनके ऊपर गिरा, तो शायद आज हमें गुरुत्वाकर्षण जैसी कुछ वैज्ञानिक शब्दों का पता ही नहीं होता, और उससे आगे होने वाली जो वैज्ञानिक चीजें हैं, जो वैज्ञानिक प्रगति की है हमारे देश ने, मानवता ने, वो शायद हमें पता ही नहीं लगता। थॉमस एल्वा एडिसन, यदि बल्ब के सवाल की समस्या का हल वे नहीं करते तो आज रोशनी नहीं होती। आज हम वही आग जला के बैठे हुए होते, इतनी सारे उपकरण, इतनी रोशनी, और उससे होने वाली आगे कई वैज्ञानिक चीजें नहीं होती। मेरे विचार में यह विषय सही है कि अधूरा है मानव जिसके सवाल में अभाव है। बहुत सही कहा गया है। जिस मनुष्य में यह चाह नहीं होती, ये जिज्ञासा नहीं होती कि ऐसा क्यों होता है, कैसे होता है,
मुझे सीखना है, मैं इसे जानूं कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ है, वह अपनी प्रगति रोक देता है। उसकी बढ़ने की जो नियति होती है वो रुक जाती है। गीता में लिखा है, एक बात करना चाहूँगा जो गीता में लिखी गई है, और कुरान, बाइबल, बहुत सारी जगह ऐसी कही गई है अलग-अलग शब्दों में, अलग-अलग भाषाओं में, कि गीता में लिखा है कि मनुष्य के पास हर सवाल का जवाब नहीं है। यदि फिर भी व्यक्ति ये सोचता है कि मैंने तो जीवन देख लिया है, मैं इतना बड़ा हो चुका हूँ, या मैं इतना सब कुछ देख चुका है मैं, और मुझे सब पता है। तो जैसे ही मानव ऐसा सोचने लगता है, उसका नज़रिया अब सीखने वाला नहीं रहता, जिज्ञासा नहीं रहती। और जो शब्द मैंने आपको शुरू-शुरू में कहे थे महात्मा गांधी के, कि जिज्ञासा ही सबसे पहली ऐसी चीज़ है जो जिज्ञासा और सवाल पूछना सबसे पहली ऐसी चीज़ है जो आपको किसी भी सीखने की चीज़ में सबसे ज़्यादा महत्वपूर्ण रहेगी। अगर आदमी ये सोचता है कि मैंने सब सीख लिया, तो उसके सोचने और उसके बढ़ने की गति धीमी हो जाती है, और कहीं-कहीं तो बंद भी हो जाती है। आप प्रगति नहीं कर सकते। अंततः मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा कि मैंने मेरे विचारों में कोई बड़ी-बड़ी बातें नहीं कही, मैंने बहुत ही सरलता से इस विषय को समझाया। और मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि यह मुझे मेरे किसी बहुत गुरु गुरुजी ने कही थी, मतलब जिन्हें मैं बहुत मानता हूँ, मेरे शिक्षक ने और इन्होंने। और मैं आप सबसे शेयर करना चाहूँगा, आप सबको बताना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि अभी हम सब जवान हैं, और मुझे ये बात बहुत ही खुशी होती है ये बताते हुए। और इसी सवाल का जवाब हमें काम करके मिलेगा। एक आखिरी कहना चाहूँगा मैं, एल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन के द्वारा कहा गया है कि उन्होंने ये कहा था कि मेरे पास कोई बहुत बेहतरीन कुछ, बहुत ही अलग कुछ हुनर नहीं है। मैं सिर्फ़ जिज्ञासु हूँ। जिज्ञासु हूँ, मैं सवाल पे सवाल करता हूँ और उन सवालों का हल ढूँढता हूँ। इसी के चक्कर में मैंने जो भी मेरे अब तक की आविष्कार किए हैं और जो कुछ भी किया है, वो मैंने इसी चक्कर में किया है कि मेरे पास कोई हुनर नहीं है। मैं सिर्फ़ जिज्ञासु हूँ, और मेरे सवालों को मैं जवाब ही ढूँढता रहता हूँ। धन्यवाद।
Okay. His timing is 7 minutes 10 seconds.
Hello all, we'll be taking a short lunch break. So we will be coming back at 3 p.m. I request all the remaining participants to join back by 2:55 p.m. on the same link. Thank you so much.